你好。
你好。
你好，朋友。
我们是那个乡政府派出所的。
Welcome to Xinjiang. This is where a technological police state is being pioneered, where kindergartens are fortified, and where United Nations experts say around 1 million people are being held in detention centers. China says they're training facilities designed to eradicate extremism. We came here with questions to find missing children. But the more time we spent here, the stranger and more unsettling things became. Our story started several months earlier, here in Istanbul. Some Uyghurs have made it out of China, and many have come here. Merzieh is 3 years old. She has never met her older brothers or sisters.
Salamet tug'ilish uchun men oilalarni tashlab chiqishga majbur bo'ldim. Bizni arib etgan Xitoy hukumatı arib etdi. Biz hem dinimizden arıdı, ailemizden arıdı. Dep aksıga şunda düşündürme.
Her mother, Kelbanor, is a Uyghur exile. She endured years of repression in Xinjiang. When she became pregnant with Merzieh, she decided to flee so that her daughter would be born outside China. She came here 3 years ago. Her husband was meant to follow with her other children. But he was arrested and sentenced to 10 years in prison for visiting a foreign country and for terrorism. She had no contact with her family all that time. Then one day last December, she finally saw a glimpse of the daughter she'd been separated from on Chinese social media. Not at home with her family, but apparently in a state-run institution. This is Aisha. She would now be 6 years old.
Men balalarımniki yana uruk tuqqanlarımның qulu dep oylaytdım. O video çıqqandan keyin şu balalarımның Xitoy hökumətinin eketkenligini, başqa balalarımның yani başqa şəhərlərə götürüb oxşaydı degan xiyol keldi. Kallamğa başqa heç qanday aloqa qılamadım bundan keyin.
Those who escaped Xinjiang have lived a long silence, cut off from their families. They thought their children were safe with relatives at least. But several Uyghurs told us they believe that when their family members were sent to detention centers, their children were put into state-run orphanages and so-called kindergartens. Abdurrahman's wife and mother-in-law returned to Xinjiang in August 2016. He stayed in Turkey to work to support them. They went with his daughter and his son, Abdulaziz. Then he lost contact too.
Balamni gördüm lekin üzümde tutup alam. Ama dadamga, apamga bunday jag'lab bakma. Ama balamni görüp üzüm tutam.
His son is answering in Mandarin rather than the Uyghur language his family speaks.
Menimcha bolsa menim balamda üzümge karşı bir nimede cho'ng qiluvchi harakatda Xitoy. Chunki bizni ata-onachiligi adam balıqçı demaydi. Balıqçı da olmaydi. Nim qilishimni faqat bilamayapman.
It's risky for the Uyghurs who fled to try and contact their families, both for them and for those they've left behind, still at the mercy of the Chinese state. But at a loss, Kelbanor and Abdurrahman both asked me to look for their children. They cannot travel back to China for fear of being detained, but we could, and so we went into the heart of Xinjiang. As soon as we were out of the airport, we were followed by at least 4 cars, some with their number plates covered. It was the same on foot, plainclothes police keeping tabs on us whenever we tried to slip away. Xinjiang is a digital surveillance state, with cameras everywhere. Knives are registered to a person's national identity number and must be kept tied down. There are security checks everywhere, at petrol stations, at shopping centres. Traditional Islamic customs have been discouraged or banned. This sign forbids women to wear veils and men to grow beards. And previously busy mosques have gone quiet. We saw no worshippers here, nor heard any calls to prayer, even on a Friday. And these are only the visible signs of an intense crackdown by Chinese authorities. Xinjiang is China's frontier, an autonomous region 6 times the size of the UK. More than half its 24 million inhabitants come from Muslim ethnic minority groups. Most of those are Uyghurs, and they've long had a difficult relationship with the Chinese state. Over the last 15 years in particular, there have been deadly protests, riots and terrorism. So this was the Chinese Communist Party's response. Starting in 2017, the first reports of a network of detention centres began to emerge. Huge facilities all across Xinjiang, where around 1 million Uyghurs have been sent for re-education. US officials have called them concentration camps. The few images that have emerged are deeply disturbing. This footage, shot by a drone, shows around 600 prisoners kneeling, their heads shaven, their hands bound, blindfolded. A European security source told Sky News that these images from Xinjiang are believed to be genuine. For a long time, China denied the detention centres even existed. Then it began a propaganda push. The centres did exist, but they were not detention camps, they said. The official name was vocational training centres, where Uyghurs could learn the language and law of China. All of this was necessary, officials said, to eradicate terrorism and extremism. China is happy to show the world what it wants to be seen. It doesn't like the world looking for itself. We started looking for Aisha here in Hotan, a city of around 300,000 people in southwest Xinjiang. Aisha Abdurrahman. Her mother, Kelbanor, had been told Aisha was in this so-called kindergarten. But we couldn't be sure if she was still even in the same city. We'd come up with a list of 14 possible kindergartens where we thought she could be. One by one, we went through them. Many of the buildings looked normal, but others had barbed wire, fortified entrances, along with the ever-present CCTV cameras and armed guards. Police followed us all the time. Anyone we spoke to, even just asking directions, was questioned afterwards. Everyone told us they had never seen Aisha. The last kindergarten we visited said children were usually collected at 6:30, so we decided to wait and see if anyone came. No parents did, but we weren't expecting this. A truck and 3 diggers dispatched the kindergarten for sudden emergency roadworks.
They will dig the road now because the water pipe underground is broken. Then
they're just going to dig the road?
Then they ask us to leave now.
We came back the next day. No sign of any roadworks.
He's running.
As we got closer, a digger came racing up the road. It was a bizarre display, straight out of the Truman Show. So here we are, and as we got a bit close to this digger, which was scooping out earth, dumping it there rather bizarrely, the driver exited the cabin at quite some speed. We don't know where he's gone. And you can see there's been absolutely no waterworks here whatsoever. It is an impressive show. It's a ridiculous show because we're not trying to find state secrets here. We're just trying to find a bit of information about the children of Xinjiang. The Chinese state simply makes it impossible to find answers here, and it goes to extraordinary lengths to do so. But official statistics tell a story on what's happened to Xinjiang's children. In one region, Kashgar, the number of children in official orphanages has massively increased at the same time as crackdowns. In 2014, around 5,300 children were held in orphanages. That number dropped off until 2017, when it suddenly spiked to more than 7,000. And the number of children in kindergartens has also increased. This data from 8 regions shows that around 650,000 children registered for preschool in 2015. Last year, there were more than 1.3 million. Those figures include young children who live at home receiving normal schooling. But government documents themselves appear to show that children are taken into care when their parents are sent to re-education camps. The camps are still cloaked in secrecy, but we wanted to see them ourselves. And this is where things got more and more surreal. Authorities were ready for us at every turn. One camp was down this road. Unfortunately, it was blocked because of urgent repair work on a gas line, we were told. They took an idiosyncratic approach to fixing it. The next day we came back. Can we go? This time there had apparently been a traffic accident. So I tried to walk around it. I was told that wouldn't be possible. I asked why. They said there was no why. It kept happening. Here we approached a different camp.
They said that the gas pipeline is broken, exploded.
It's exploded.
The workers are repairing.
真的吗？真啊，不会看。
Another camp, another traffic accident. This one with a less than convincing limp.
不要拍照，不要拍照。
It didn't seem too serious, but the road was nonetheless closed. Then armed police arrived and they made us leave. But we didn't give up. This time under cover of darkness, to give our minders the slip.
We're going back to a place where we think there was a camp. They told us there was an accident the other day, so we're going back very early on a Sunday morning to see if the same sort of thing happens.
For the first time in a week, it looked like we weren't being followed. And so, on the edge of the city, it emerged from the gloom. A huge centre with high walls, watchtowers and spotlights on full blaze. Satellite images show its full extent. This area appears to be the detention centre, with high walls and watchtowers. The complex on the left is apparently the re-education facility. The security is less strict, the building's more like dormitories. This sign reads, "Aim to maintain the stability and security of society." Inside here, according to reports, hundreds of people are taught about the Communist Party's achievements and made to write self-criticisms. A program of indoctrination. We left Hotan and travelled north to Aksu, a city close to China's border with Kyrgyzstan. This is where Abdurrahman is from and where we hoped to find his son. But here we had less information to go on, just a home address. We didn't even get that far.
So we think this is the house. It doesn't look very open, but we'll give it a go. 你好。
你好。
你好，朋友。
我们是那个乡政府派出所的。
So
完了过后，我们接群。
Now our minders changed tactics. If we stopped filming and went with them, the officials said, they could offer us something better. A chance to speak to a graduate of one of the centres. Everything had been set up, ready and waiting for us. The officials kept a close eye throughout, even as they tried to keep out of shot. This man gave us his Chinese, not Uyghur name, Aini Yasen. He told us he attended the centre last year.
村干部还有工作队干部同有时候，我参加培训时候嘛，我法律意识还国语水平提高了，我还学技能、学法律、学国语，这培训嘛，这挑战都免费的，感谢党和政府。不是这一样的，还大学一样的，还我们这个学习嘛很放松，我自由的。 我家里还什么时候来，什么时候回去可以呢？还这个大学一样的这个，不是这样的。
In truth, this felt about as real as all the traffic accidents and roadworks we'd seen. The other side of the story can only be glimpsed. These Uyghur men in buses without number plates, skipping traffic lights with a police escort. It's impossible to say whether they're prisoners, detainees, or something else. To report in Xinjiang is to see through a glass darkly. To know only in part. But in Turkey, those who've been inside camps and made it out give alternative accounts. The difference is night and day.
Vay depla men kokup kettim. Aşağıdaki bende tuğan kızlar, yatıdan orun yok bende turdu. Tuğan vakti aş kızlarınki putunda kişen, 5 kiloluk kişen. Kolları da koyza.
Gulbahar Jalil is a Uyghur woman from Kazakhstan. She told us she was detained in China on a business trip and kept in a vocational training center for 15 months.
24 saat su vermey, men aşı töme üstelin içinde oturup, töme üstel putum 5 kiloluk kişen bolsa, aş üstelniki yana aş kişennin özünün kişeleri bakya, şu iğir kelip, putlarım sağ ketip, eşen hoşumdan ketip, urgan vaqta meni doktorxanaga apadı.
The governor of Xinjiang told us that these centers were like boarding schools. Is that accurate?
Yağan dedi. Eğer meni yağan da batıdı dese, men herkes men tıkılmadım ya nem kılmadım. Bir küsetsun dese men o sen kendine can soyan doktor kalan apır küseleyim.
Throughout our reporting, we've asked the Chinese authorities for access to the camps. We asked them for a comment on this report. We asked them for information about Gulbahar Jalil's detention. We asked them for any information they could give us about the children of Kelvnur and Abdurrahman. They did not respond. For those who have escaped, it is still the silence that is hardest to bear.
Eğer şu fırsat bana verilip kalsa men ballarımdan yani keçirim soraydım. Ballarım men sizlerden bir minut mu ayrılığım yok. Meni keçiringlar, men imkaniyetim yok. Men şaraitim şarait bulmadı, bu fırsat bana verilmedi balam.